Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now in Ray's Juke Joint. It's Ray the Barber, and I'm here welcoming back my friend, my buddy, my co-creator, his home. He's back. Eric, welcome back to the Juke Joint, brother.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back, Ray. It's good to be back.
Well, I'm glad to see you, man. And we got our friend, our good friend, Sox Nick. He's here with us to talk some baseball. And I'm pretty excited about this one because we haven't been able to talk baseball, Eric and Nick, since last year. And I'm excited, man. I don't even know. Let me do Eric. Eric, come. This give you a welcome back. I'm excited, man. I can't even explain how excited I am because I love baseball and I love y'all. So go ahead.
Yeah,
Eric.
I haven't been around much. Different things going on. Of course, still on Twitter a little bit, talking in my groups. A lot of the people that found me through this, actually through you and through this. Talking about some of the front office stuff and analytical stuff, which I do enjoy. So I'm good to be back. I've been a little bit back. I'm surprised that some of the people are still around that were on Sox Twitter a year ago, that somehow they're still there. But I see that some of them are still there when I've been flipping through it. But I'm excited to be here. I mean, a ton's changed, right? Tons changed. So I'm excited.
Nick, you've been every day with your gloves on. You've been battling. You've been going at it, fam. Like, what's going on with you, Joe? Like, how you feeling about the White Sox, bro?
I'm just, I'm trying to let Chris Getz do his thing. The thing that I don't want him to do, don't overdo the job. And I think, this is the thing that kind of has been killing me with this Dylan Cease thing. Is like if they move him, then I mean it is what it is. I have no problem.
Yeah, Nick, you're going too far, buddy.
I'm just saying it's like
we can't talk that yet. We gotta let me just give you a segue. Let me give you a segue.
Okay. I was
all right. So the White Sox ended the season and they lost 100 games. How did you feel about the season?
It might have been the worst season that I can remember. For it just in my lifetime, because I'm only 26. I remember 2018. That was a pretty bad year, but I think with the combination just of the off the field drama, it was just a combination of a lot of stuff. And yeah, I'd say this season, it if not the worst season, it's definitely in the list. This, I really did not expect this team to be this bad so quickly. So,
Eric?
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a perfect storm. Like a lot of times they say to win, things have got to go 100% your way. Or how you lose 100 games is nothing goes your way. And you pretty much solve that. I mean, if you look, I should have looked it up, but I can pretty much off the top of my head. If you look at the White Sox high-end payroll of last year, players that were supposed to produce, and go compare that to their WAR, their seasons they put up. I mean, what did Grandal put up? What did Lance Lynn put up? What did TA put up? What did Makata put up? What did Benintendi put up? What did Lance Hendricks put up? What did Kelly put up? What did Graveman put up? I mean, you're talking that's $100 million. And I don't even know if I'm to 4 WAR yet, let alone one player getting 4 WAR. The good thing about it was the shit show was so terrible that we were able to exploit the deadline a little bit. And I like some of the moves that we made at the deadline because there was no chance we were ever coming back. So, some of the moves we were able to make, I did enjoy the deadline. But, I mean, that was just awful.
It was awful. And I got one of the most begrudging, one of the most upset, crazy fan that we all know and love. Justin, he's here now. He's made it to the show. Justin, we're doing a recap since we didn't get a chance to in the Juke Joint. We're doing a recap of the season. Just kind of give us an ending. When it ended, they lost 100-something games. I don't even know how many. I don't even know how many. They lost them, and here we are.
It was absolutely terrible. It was terrible. Eric, I was in the goddamn bullpen when you was going through like the payroll and then the war accumulated with that payroll. We had $4 billion on the books and got a 2.1 WAR team.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
And that's the whole calendar, Eric. That was the whole calendar.
And sometimes you're like, well, if this guy don't let us down, if this guy don't let us down, if this guy don't let us down, if this guy don't, where did it stop? I mean, who didn't really let us down? I mean, there was like
it was everybody.
That kind of held their own. He's kind of held his own, whatever. Like there wasn't very many.
From Yohan Moncada was great. That was one of the bright spots for the White Sox.
You know it's bad when it's a bright spot. That's what I was just gonna say. You know it's bad when it was a bright spot. Yeah.
Hey Eric, can I just say that one of the players that Justin fell in love with, you may not know this, was Tukey.
Yeah, Tukey.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out of nowhere. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I don't want to be that guy, but don't be surprised if he gets cut soon.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised he made it by the DNFA deal the first time. I think he's one of the first guys making $1.7 million. I think is supposed to be maybe to possibly go as some of these moves get going. But he did what we needed him to do. He definitely 8 innings and filled roles. I mean, that was good to see. You know who else was? Nobody wants to hear it, but I ain't gonna be that guy. You know who else who was pretty good? Clevenger.
Yes.
Speak on it. Yes.
I mean, like,
yes.
For being a pickup 5th starter, what he was supposed to be, he did his job.
Clevenger
He did his job. I mean, like,
bro, I was so like. Don't get me wrong, Eric. All of you people know on the Juke Joint Nick too. Y'all know I'm a Dylan C. stan. When I'm leaving work early to catch Mike Clevenger pitch against the Twins, that's how the White Sox season went.
Yeah.
Hey,
He
Eric,
was outstanding this year, Eric, and everybody want to look at his K per 9 and everything else. You have to watch the games to see his brilliance because he was getting in and out of trouble. Like Blake Snell won a Cy Young pitching the same way Mike Clevenger pitched for the Sox. Now, Snell had a lot more strikeouts, obviously a lot more walks, but getting in and out of trouble for a team that is not that good offensively, and more importantly, we don't have the defense to help out a guy like Mike Clevenger, and he still was accumulating a lot of fucking outs per start.
And he didn't have that hammer that fucking.
He was throwing that disco ball though. They call it the sweeper. It was a slurve, man.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to remember too, like people always want to like try to compare him to somebody he's not. He was a 1-year 5th starter on a squad. You can't say that he wasn't worth that. He put in one of the better seasons on the deal. It ain't his fault that Cease, Kopech, Lynn, and Giolito sucked. It ain't his fault. It ain't his fault the bullpen blew up. I mean, like when he was out there and he was healthy, the team had a chance to win. And that's all you can really ask out of the starter, especially a 5th starter.
So Eric, can I get us started real quick? Because I want to kind of tie up the off season. Can I get you to run us down what Chris Getz has done? He was appointed it was pretty quick after the season. We said goodbye to Kenny Williams. We said goodbye to I don't even know if I can say his name right now. It hurt my heart to see him go.
Yeah.
I'm lying, motherfucker. Bye, bitch.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he trolling right now?
Yeah, I'm trolling.
They fired Williams and Hahn. Put in Getz. Wasn't overly thrilled, but not surprised. That they're going to keep something internal. I am happy with the outside of Barfield, Bannister, some other guys they've brought in that didn't just promote from within. A few things I hope they keep in place that they had just got started was, I love the draft strategy. I know that I love when they're overpaying for first round, second round, and third rounds. They're overpaying slot, trying to get true talent. The last couple of years, they've got like 3 guys inside the top 50 from most of their projects because they're willing to do that. I hope that he keeps that going. I did like the international signings, the last couple of years. Not so much to Colas and Seth.
You better not let King Mac hear about that.
But Yeah. He was great, right, Colas? So I'm just already happy that Getz already put him in Charlotte. Like, let's not even end the chance, any chance that he's coming up. Getz already nipped that one, so that's awesome. But I hope they keep like they what signed 22 kids last year in the international draft. Like it was like a bunch of long shot younger guys. I hope they keep up with that. And I like the contract extensions they've done. Stuff they got TA here on the deal, Robert here on the deal. Mikado one didn't work out so well, but still the right thing. Like so, I hope those principles we don't lose. But the one thing I'm most excited about, and I hope that we don't do anymore, is I hope we don't band-aid shit anymore. I'm so sick of like band-aiding and not just going for things. Like the White Sox the last 2 or 3 years were set up to be a home run team, not play any fucking defense, and they're going to be a home run team. That's what they were set up for. They should have been the Phillies. You guys know how much they don't care. They just put Schwarber, Castellanos, so just throw people out there. Don't matter. Hit the ball far, strike people out. Like that should have been the deal. But then what does Williams and Hahn figure out a way to do? Well, let's go get, Andrew Benintendi, who don't fit any of that. Like he's not a power hitter. He's didn't fit the mold. Like they're trying to make up for.
We tried to
make up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to make up for holes in their game overall with like one player. And to me, that's backwards. Like you should maximize your strength. Whatever your strength is, maximize it. If you're going to be a home run team, be a home run team. If you're going to be a defensive team, be a defensive team. If you want to be something else, be that. But they've never had an identity. They always try to patchwork. For the whole entire Kenny Williams era, it's been patchwork. Let's go get that veteran that used to be good. Just go get Ken Griffey or Albert Bell or
Edwin
Adam Ball. Like, let's go get somebody that used to be great. Patchwork him, James Shields. Let's go get some of these guys. Like, I hate that. So I'm hoping that's over. And I don't even care what the identity is. You guys all know what I would choose. But whatever the identity is, stick with it. And those are the players you're getting. That's the type of ball you're going to play.
Now, Eric, I did hear one thing when they were doing the introductory presser for the new front office. You said something earlier about Jesse Barfield and Josh Barfield.
Josh, yeah.
Jesse, right?
It's Jesse, right? Josh is a player, right?
Yeah, because his dad, long story short, his dad played in the fucking major leagues. His dad was the prototype of player that the White Sox need to be identifying. Give me the athletic build who's going to play every day. Because if your hitting tool ain't going to play every day, your speed, your defense will. And I will say this, Eric. I was sad to see TA go because I liked him in a White Sox uniform. I liked him representing the team. But at the same time, TA was one of the biggest issues with the team. His skills wasn't on display every day, right? You look at Eloy, you look at even Luis Robert in a career year still had peaks and valleys to his production. So if anything else, I need the front office to stick with the mold. Get me some athletic players on 35th and Shields. Maybe we can outrun some of the problems that we can't identify specifically. Maybe we need to stop worrying about fixing the defense when maybe if you get an outfielder playing the outfield instead of a first baseman or a DH, maybe you can improve at that specific position. Maybe if you fucking had some respect about the second base position, a keystone position, maybe you wouldn't have that as a revolving door for the last 8 years.
Another goddamn Band-Aid. Elvis, like, what the fuck? 2 years of that fucking Band-Aid? Like, come on.
2 years of the same Band-Aid. You don't see that.
I know.
That pus.
You all know that shit don't even stick anymore. Those Band-Aids, they start falling off. They don't even stick anymore. They kept trying to make it fit.
So let me ask Nick a question so I can let's kind of keep the show moving a little bit. So Nick, the moves that you didn't like and did like, that Chris Guest took over, the move that he made, which ones have you liked? Which ones have you not liked?
Well, I do like the Aaron Bummer move, is because you were able to accumulate some pitching depth. And I know I've said on Twitter that I think starting pitching is probably the biggest issue with this team. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really the main reason of why they lost so many games, is because they didn't have consistent starting pitching. So Soroka is he's a low risk, high reward guy, even though you only have him for 1 year control. And then you still have Jared Schuster. He's a first round talent. Yeah, kind of struggled with Atlanta. They didn't really get a chance to show his potential. But you have him under control, and you was able to get some minor league depth. So really, at the moment, that's probably the only move that I like from Chris Getz. I haven't really seen any moves enough for me to say like, oh, I didn't like him doing that. So that's how I feel about it.
All right. So since we got my goal today was to bring Eric back home and to surround him with some of the smartest baseball minds that we've come across in the last
You won't be the lead.
year and a half since we started.
No, I'm serious. Like if I'm the fifth wheel, I could bounce.
Since we started, since Eric and I, and all you guys, since we started talking on Spaces, almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years, guys. We've come across some very smart people, and Asinine being another one. He's here. Asinine. We're talking about Chris Getz taking over and the moves that he's made so far. Where are you at with the White Sox in the offseason with Chris Getz so far?
I mean, so far I don't have a problem with anything he's done. If Dylan Cease is still on this team, I will have a problem. But I mean, he hasn't done anything like significant. The Aaron Bummer trade to me was insignificant, really. Mike Soroka won't be here next year unless he, for some reason, has a stupid season. He won't be here. Schuster, he's not going to do much. And then Nicky Lopez, I mean, he can play second base very well, at least defensively. His bat is clearly garbage. And then all the rest of those guys in those trades will be career minor leaguers. So that really doesn't mean anything to me. But yeah, I've been seeing Teoscar Hernandez. If Eloy's still on the team, I want nothing to do with him.
Okay, well, hold those thoughts about adding and who's out there right now. We're finna start getting into some of that stuff right now. Eric, so we're gonna let's talk about what's going on right now. Number one thing happening right now in baseball. We just saw Pedro Grifol do another word salad on TV with MLB television.
Right.
And he is he's our manager for the next year. And what are the White Sox doing? What is Chris Getz and his staff doing down in the winter meetings right now?
Yeah. So one thing I do like the honest answers. Han was always a little coy. I think you could have a full-time job just translating what Han was saying or trying to say some of the president. So I do like he's been very, I want to say direct. He said he wanted to fix the up-to-middle defense. It mattered to him. Now, whether it matters to you or not doesn't make a difference, but he did that. Getting, Lopez, like Asinine, what's up, buddy, as he referred to, Gold Glove second baseman caliber. John's been known for a long time as his shortstop caliber. So, like, he's done the things, or at least set a backup plan in place there for somebody if, to say what he's doing, what he's going to do. Not only for just being right, which is always great, but I love the fact that he didn't even give Colas a shot. See you in Charlotte. Like, good luck. Go down there and figure your shit out, which I don't think he ever can. But, like, I like his directness for being a first time on the job and being a young guy. He's been very direct to what he said. Now, here's the thing. What are they going to do now? There's 19 holes. What are the White Sox up against? Well, they have mind to spend. Problem is, you're not really a very good free agent destination. You're the second team in your city. I know people hate that, but it's the truth.
Come on, dog.
I know. You can say whatever you want. I know everybody hates it, but it's the truth. You spring training in Arizona when a lot of the players live in Florida. Your organization's a goddamn mess from top to bottom. All that shit that came up last year about people skipping practices and not going and all those things or whatever. You don't know if you're trying to win. It's not exactly like people are like, oh, man, I can't wait to get to the White Sox. I hope they offer me a contract. That's not going on right now. So I think some of the stuff you're seeing in order to retool the team is going to be Bummer, a luxury couldn't afford, left-handed specialist, right? Couldn't afford. Cease is going to be next, or whatever. He'll be moved just so we can go. And so we can retool the team because you're going to have to be creative. They're going to take on some bad contracts to get good talents. They're going to have to flip some players to get multiple players. They're going to have to do some things because people aren't waiting in the line to be like, I can't wait to play for Pedro and Getz and the White Sox because they got stuff going the right direction. That's not the situation we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, you have a team that's in turmoil. I think that's the best way to explain it. There were several reports that came out. Nick, help me out because you covered a lot of the things that came out during the off season or during the season, where it was like these reports were coming out about like players just doing whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I remember Jesse Rogers from ESPN had he was on the I think ESPN 1000, where pretty much he was saying that, you know, some of the guys that were problems were Yasmani Grandal. Yohan Moncada was listed as a guy that was not considered a hard worker, wasn't really considered committed to the team. And he mentioned how Eloy Jimenez was a happy-go-lucky guy, but he wasn't really a hard worker. And yeah, you know, I think the problem with this team was that the fact that Pedro was a new manager and he didn't come in and establish the culture. You know, I think he was trying to play nice with too many guys. And
Nice guy.
yeah, and then I just heard little shit like, you know, Tim Anderson had his own separate locker, you know, off in the corner. It was a lot of factions between the Latin players and the Caucasian players, and they weren't really a together team. And I think that was pretty evident when you saw guys like Keenan Middleton and Lance Lynn. They were kind of talking shit about the Sox, you know, to the media. So. Yeah, this was a really fractured clubhouse, and it showed in the record. So, yeah.
So
I mean, look at the type of reports that was leaking. Like anytime you already got a team that's losing at an exponential rate, on top of they're talking about you got a fringe MLB reliever in Kenyon Middleton. We don't know when his next job, and he's coming out and saying like there's no accountability within the clubhouse. People are falling asleep in the bullpen. It's like those are the type of things that were talking points with the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
It's not about it. I'm a diehard fan. I shouldn't wake my ass up at 6:30, get on Twitter, and hear this man running his mouth about people taking a nap in the bullpen. Why does that report come out when you get moved to the Yankees? Why wouldn't that a report 2 days after you were on the team? Because that was something you probably seen multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Like Lance Lynn was throwing batting practice with the White Sox. He was throwing batting practice with the Dodgers. And he still told the truth about the internal structure of the team. It's like that's my issue with the White Sox is everything is getting leaked out. Like I understand shit happens, people fuck up, but I don't need to be the casual fan and have that on my desk in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
I think the most frustrating part about that is Kenny Williams has been here for how long? Rick Holland's been here for how long? And you're allowing that shit to happen like on your deal when you're supposed to be the executive baseball operations, and you're supposed to be like the GM, and that shit's going on in your neighborhood, and you've been there for fucking 40 fucking years combined or whatever the hell it's been. Like that's my issue. It's like
and I think
he held them accountable. And they both needed to go probably just for that report alone. If you can't even get your guys to come to practice,
they lucky they fired Hawk, because if Hawk was on the mic and this shit was going down,
oh boy,
this is true. And I think that's a good segue to go into somebody who has been screaming for Kenny Williams and Han to move on for the last since we've met him. Asinine. I know like this is stuff that was going on with those two knuckleheads. So how do you feel about it? And with Chris Getz down in the winter, are you expecting multiple moves from him?
No. Nah, I'm not. I don't know. I can expect one big move, and then like maybe we'll sign a guy like just on some.
I mean, what's a big move?
Just like whatever, but I don't expect much. I mean, the most I can expect, into which I hope it happens, Nick, is Dylan Cease being sent to the fucking sun. I'm sick of it.
All right, but in regards to Pine
man.
and Kenny Williams being gone and the team going forward, do you feel comfortable with the direction you think we could go now?
I mean, I need to. I don't want to give an opinion like that. I need to
Okay.
see one draft.
Just say I need
One.
to see more.
I just need to see one draft. I need to see what type of time he on. And
Right.
This offseason is really a wash. He doesn't really have much to work with. So
So
I
you're
need to
saying
see
you're
you
gonna
draft the
reevaluate
proper guys.
at the end of the next year?
So
Mhm.
what? 2025, you could start having that conversation.
Me personally, I mean.
So here's a question for the panel, and I got to start with the hometown team, with the returning co-creator of the Juke Joint, Eric. Eric, in your opinion, what are the White Sox looking for to bring into the team going into 2024? Because let me just say this: we've already
First of
brought
all,
in.
here, can we put like a trophy like in my deal for like the fantasy baseball championship? Can I have like a logo or like a trophy?
I wonder
all
if I
five
can do
of
that.
us
Let me
wear,
see.
like,
Hold on. I think I can pull that off. Eric. Hold on. I think
I'm not gonna.
You guys about let that Twins fan win.
How's he
You
gonna
about
call
let that
that
Twins
off
fan
right
win.
here?
So like, I mean, what are we looking for? So what's interesting, last year we took a lot of heat on the show because like last year, like the Bellinger moves never made sense. Some 1 year moves didn't make sense. This year you can see some of that. Having guys we can flip at the deadline to be able to build for the future make more sense. You're gonna look for younger guys, longer control, but like where people got something wrong. I know you don't want to get into it yet, but it's a hot deal, right? The Cease trade. Where people got it wrong, in my opinion, he's not going to be flipped for like 19 and 20-year-old kids that are in AA. He's getting flipped for guys that are going to play like now or just starting to play now or they're ready to play right now. Like he's looking for guys with 5-6 year windows that can play. So anything that you see, I disagree a little bit with what Acidine said. Like this offseason to me is pretty fascinating. So many holes to fill, so much money available. Cease is going to get flipped. Does Eloy get flipped? Because it makes a lot of sense to flip him because he really don't fit what Chris Getz has said. Athletic, defense, being able to run a little bit. He really don't fit what the model of what he's looking for. So, like, I think it's interesting.
So, Justin, so far we've brought in Paul DeJong. We have a couple pitchers from the Braves, but as far as on the team right now, Nicky Lopez and Paul DeJong are the two players that could possibly play every day on the infield for the White Sox. How do you feel about those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I wish the White Sox would go back to their roots and go out and go get me a Brett Laurie type of athlete. Now, don't get me wrong. Nicky Lopez is an outstanding defensive infielder. Like, you could play him at second, shortstop, third base. I don't give a fuck. He could play wherever. The problem is there is a very low ceiling for him offensively. Pop. He's not going to be in a lineup where he's going to get a extra at-bats like it was with Atlanta down the stretch. I want the White Sox to build a prototype of what we were back in the early decade when we had the Carlos Lees, the Jose Valentines, and everything else. And I know right now at this point we're in the infancy, but we got to start building players of that ilk so we can see what the overall blueprint could bring in. I talked with Asinine and I don't know, probably a few of you guys about a guy over the year called Jesus Sanchez. And that's the type of player that I want the White Sox to start taking a swing at. Raise your ceiling offensively. Take a risk that will help you out. You obviously neglected second base. You have an opportunity to close up a corner outfield position. Like Eric alluded to before in the show, what the fuck were you doing signing Benintendi when you had an opportunity to get a corner outfielder with some extreme slug? That's the best position you can add immediate slug is the corner outfield right now. You had an opportunity and you deliberately deviated from that. Now, do not make the second mistake twice. Put an athlete in right field. Put some OPS in right field. You're not winning right now. Be okay with 180 strikeouts if it's giving you 35 home runs, even 80 RBIs, because you was okay with Luis Robert doing that with his season this year. See if you can find another person that can deliver that, because I know this is long-winded, but look at what Philadelphia did with Nick Castellanos in right field. Nobody on this panel is going to agree that they want Nick Castellanos in right field every day defensively. But Philly bit the bullet, and it turned out that Nick Castellanos provided a decent effort because they wasn't worried about his weaknesses, just building on his strengths. Put some OPS in right field. That's what I want the Sox to do.
All right. So that leads us into kind of like where we are with the deals that we're thinking. Asinine, I'm gonna start with you. Is there a deal out there that you think the Dylan Cease or Eloy or somebody could bring somebody to the White Sox that you think Chris Guest could like target? Oh, you're
just somebody tell him he's muted.
Yeah, he's muted.
Okay. Now I want the one thing I've been looking at is Eloy to the Brewers, and I want us to flip him for Luis Arias. That's what I want. But also, and then Luis can play second base, short, or third.
Well, he's a free agent.
I swear he is.
Yeah, because Boston.
Then go pick him up. He's cheap. He's cheap. But aside from that, I don't agree that Cease will be swapped for guys that are already MLB ready. At least I wouldn't. I don't know, because I believe it's over. This year is clipped.
Get me off the big box. Put his ugly ass on the big box.
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna put Nick over to the big box. Hey, Nick.
Right,
so
thank you.
You what are you thinking as far as like a one move before I bring up some other ones that we talked about? A move that you're thinking about as far as for the Sox.
Well, I've actually done a couple of them on Twitter. That I can't really remember them, but there has been one in passing that I've kind of tinkered with, and it may catch some people off guard. I thought maybe Eloy Jimenez to the Angels for Brandon Drury, and people will say, "Well, why would the Sox go after another third baseman?" See, the thing with Brandon Drury is that he would bring that element of slugging and OPS, and you could put him at second base. You could put him at you could put him at first.
DH.
You know, you could put him at first base, and you could put Vaughn at DH if you want to. And I think, given the fact that, you know, once Moncada and Eloy, once they're off the books after 24, you know, you can possibly throw out the idea of re-signing a Brandon Drury. And I've also mentioned Brandon Drury is because he has some ties to the Sox. He was in Arizona when Tony La Russa was an advisor. His manager at one point was Charlie Montoyo. So, I mean, he has some connections, some White Sox connections. And that's currently one move that I've been thinking of. And I do know the Angels, they could use a designated hitter. It's because we all know Ohtani's probably not going to be in Anaheim.
So Ian says that it looks like we need Soler. That's what Ian said in the comment section.
And I'm not.
He's great when he's on, but good God, he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So, there's your answer, Ian. So here's let me get into this, and here's what deals are we thinking about in the trade market. So Eric gave up some things that, and this is strictly Dylan Cease. This is not Eloy. Okay. So here is a couple moves that Eric has been tinkering with, using our good friend, what's his name, Eric? I'm sorry, from Trade Value. John's website from Trade Values. So here's the first one. I want you guys to look at it, and I'm gonna let Eric take over as I go. So Eric, here's the first one right here.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that one last, but let's do it first.
Okay, so hold on. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Let me move this banner because it's not.
I barely see it.
Yeah,
So I
it
think,
was. Let me
yeah,
take
it's
the
too
banner
big.
off.
I don't know.
No,
That's what
fine.
she said.
You're right.
The banner kind of took it off. Let's go here.
I
And
just did like the 4 teams that everybody's kind of been talking about.
there it is. There
All
it
right.
is. So go ahead.
This is probably in my opinion, I think the leader to get to end up getting Cease is probably going to be the Dodgers, and I'll tell you why. They have 4 catchers currently on their top 40 in their 40-man roster, which is not ideal, and that does not even include Dalton Rushing, who's on his way. So they're stacked and loaded there. So I think they'll overpay just to get rid of one, possibly. Diego is their best catcher, ready now. Emmett is the up and coming. I think he's number 2 or number 3 in the organization, ready to start pitching right now. Like, to me, this is a move that I think is very possible for the White Sox to get back from Dylan Cease. Like I said, with the hole the White Sox have a catcher and the surplus the Dodgers have, having 4 on the 40 and Dalton still coming, to me, this one makes a lot of sense.
Okay, so
Now, I'd
any
agree.
rebuttal? Asinine, go ahead.
I'd swap Diego Cartaya for Andy Pages. Andy Pages is everything Max said Oscar Colas was supposed to be.
I got a friend of mine in my other group's a big fan of his. I'd rather just take Outman myself, but like, you're not alone in that. You're not alone in there. I got some other guys that like.
I like James Outman too.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Sox Nick, how you feel about that trade right there? You muted, buddy. There you go. No, you just muted yourself again. Nick,
you too young to be having these technical difficulties, Nick.
So now he the old, So now he the old man at the damn.
Yeah. Well, while he's trying to figure that out, go ahead, Justin. What do you think about that proposal?
I mean, I don't got no problem with Cartaya. It's just the Sox have made some very aggressive moves at the catcher position too. You don't want to create a logjam getting everybody the same age, and then you just gonna have a turnstile at the position. I want some stability there. Like Eric said though, like James Outman would be perfect because if you look at what the Sox have been lacking outside of second base, the second part of the defensive core that we're missing is a backup center fielder. When Luis Robert leaves the lineup, that's not only a hole, that's a void. James Outman could be the right fielder and the backup center fielder.
Okay, so Nick is back. He had to fix his audio. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I had to fix my audio, but I didn't hear the part where you all were talking about outfielder. I didn't hear that part.
No, they were saying, well, go ahead. I won't take y'all shine. Asinine, Justin, what were y'all saying?
No, I was saying I wanted the Sox to, if they were to trade Dylan Cease and get like a position player back, I wanted them to get a backup center fielder, somebody who could play right field and a backup center fielder. So James Outman from the Dodgers, if we decide to move that direction, I would like a guy like that.
Yeah, he would be. In fact, he would be. For me, he would be the perfect name to get back into return if he was going to the Dodgers. That is,
Yeah,
that's the guy I would want.
I could see that as well.
Yeah.
He's 26. I want nothing to do with him. By the time we're ready to win, he's over the hill.
So
I don't want nothing to do with him.
You can't be serviceable at 30.
I guess I don't understand when you're already throwing like 25 to the wayside. Like, you got $100 million available this year and even more available next year. And you have, 3-4 top pitching prospects ready to come up too as well. Like, I don't think it's for sure not a rebuild. Like, if you think it's a rebuild, I think you're misjudging the talent and the money available.
I mean, the only talent worthwhile that I think we have available is Colson. Everybody else is like, maybe he'll be serviceable. I don't see anybody else down there that'll be
I'm actually opposite of Montgomery, but we can save that for another episode. But like, I mean, he's not an obvious bust.
Eric.
He's not an obvious bust as Colas was, but he's on his way. He's on his way.
But I mean, at the same token, though, I wouldn't be mad at Cartaya. But like, But like Justin
If
said,
he goes, the only reason I thunk he's going to go to the Dodgers, I think there's a chance, is I think they'll overpay because they have so much catching depth that they'll basically just give one of those guys away. With 40 guys and a 40-man and Dalton's still coming, like they have so much catching depth. I think we could get them and Pages, him and Altman, him and Sheehan and another player. Like I think Dodgers are in the perfect spot to overpay because of just their catching depth, which I know the White Sox got Lee, but let's face it, Lee is a AAA catcher for the rest of his life.
Can I ask you guys a question about the Dodgers since they're in the running for Shohei? Would that influence their decision-making process as far as how they're going to maneuver to bring in other talent, i.e., somebody like?
Well, they already announced Mookie is the second baseman going.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So you can take that position off the board. The Dodgers have a big ass fucking void in the outfield right now because both of their I think didn't they just re-up with Hayward?
They did.
Yeah, they
so
did.
The only you re-up with Hayward, which really don't help you enough, and then left field Peralta is gone. So what you gonna do there?
What I do if I was them, if trading for Dylan Cease ain't a thing and I'm not giving up Pages, I let Pages go play left. I bring back JD, let him DH, and then let everything else fall into place how it was.
Yeah, if they don't get Ohtani, they probably do, right? I would assume JD fit very well there.
Would Teoscar Hernandez be on the Dodgers board?
I mean, not if JD is willing to come back, because with how JD was playing, there's no reason not to bring him back. I'm not gonna go look at somebody else to take his spot that he already balled in.
Yeah, not to mention he can play. Tester can actually play the outfield, so he's not limited to DH.
I mean, he hasn't played the outfield in 3 years.
No, he's saying Teoscar.
Teoscar.
Yeah. He's actually a service. He's a plus outfield.
Right, Flacco.
He's not stuck
3 years straight.
I was looking at Teoscar for the White Sox.
Me three. You know that as well.
Yeah. So when you brought him up a couple months ago, I was like, holy shit! I didn't even realize he was a free agent. So
yeah, if you ask where I'm going in free agency, I'm grabbing him and Mitch Garver.
All right,
that's the two where I'm starting, and Mitch Garver would be a great 2-year gap for the kid we got from the Angels.
Let's keep going with the trade situations. Eric, which one you want next?
I don't care. Slow one up.
All right, here we go. Let's go with this one. This one is a hot topic. This one has been discussed on Twitter multiple times today. There you go.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with that kid. I don't want anything to do with him.
Why not?
Well, Eric, you're big on service time, right? They brought him up, started his clock, and he didn't produce, in my opinion. The other kid outshined him that they brought up later on, like a month later.
But they brought him into a pennant race, Ray.
Yeah, he only had 100 at bats, 118 at bats or something.
61, I think.
And he wasn't just
61 at bats.
Regular pitching. Like they had to get the Orioles out. He was one of the Orioles, and they got him out. That's I wouldn't say he's trash, but I think that's another one of those guys that can probably provide OPS if you give him 400 to 500 at bats.
The only thing that I like about him is that he has an eye. That's about it. And that gives me a bit of hope that he can figure out everything else.
Well, he was like in the top 50 of prospects for multiple years. So I mean, he's
number 2 in the Orioles. I know his clock started, but to me, and I know Ass and I are different here, which is cool. That's why I love having these conversations. But to me, you're going to see all these trades where guys that are just like that. Guys that maybe their clock just started or it's about to start for the next 5-6 year run of control. But they're ready to take the step to be the new, younger, athletic Sox.
All right. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I bet you if Colton Cowser get the same amount of bats Pete Crow Armstrong get next year, I bet you Colton Cowser a better offensive player.
Yeah, I mean, obviously his power. I mean, he was. If you look at his 80 grades, I can't remember what they were. Somebody can pull him up. He was like 60 and 55 across. I think he was like 55 runs, 60 hit, 55 power.
Yeah,
you're a college kid. It's kind of already played. So I mean, like, I like him, and I know that some like the other kid better, and I know Nick does for sure. So
I like
it's
Calvin
fine,
too.
but I'm just talking about value wise. Now, let me just say this too before we go. Like when you're looking and using the site, you also got to determine the market, right? So like when I'm throwing these names up, it's going to match pretty close, but I actually think the Sox will get closer to like 25% more value than what Cease is currently at, just because of the market and the situation and the demand in his contract deal. I think they'll be able to get more than the 40 that he's listed for on our budget site.
Yeah.
Anyway, any more?
I'll tell you one thing you can throw out right now is you won't see that Mayo kid. Like who's ever like pushing that garbage, you'll never see him. Go look up somebody pull up his 80 grade tools. It's like 40 run, 45 field. Like if you listen to anything that Getz has said, he don't want another Eloy, out there in the field. Like he's looking for the opposite of that. Like, so who's ever thrown around the Mayo shit, you got to pay attention. At least put a little bit of effort into this to stop throwing yourself on the camera and saying stupid shit. Like at least study something.
Wow. So basically, right after Eric says that, I'm probably going to throw myself on camera and say something stupid. If the White Sox want to trade Dylan Cease to the American League East, I say they call up my man Craig Breslow, and they say, you know what, Weiler Abreu.
What's going on, Coach Dante?
Weiler Abreu, we going to package up Kyle Teal, whatever else you want. Chicago White Sox, you can have them. Because I'm telling you, the Red Sox offense last year was still a top offense. They just didn't have enough innings from the rotation to help support them.
So you telling me a pitcher that had trouble with home runs is going to play in one of the most home run centric ballparks in baseball?
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, see how that looks. Hey, when that 5 ERA hit you across the head, don't tell me I didn't tell you.
Dylan Cease misses more bats than not.
Yeah. And he still had a 4.5 ERA while missing all of those bats.
He played on the bad team. Everybody have a down year.
That don't give him a pass.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to this next one. Eric, you ready?
Who's next?
All right,
Cardinals or the Braves?
We're going Cardinals.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's not. Calm down. Let's talk about this one, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wynn's kind of that guy. I mean, I really like Wynn. Shortstop, young, think he's 21. If you go pull up his stuff, they got nothing but great things to say about him. They're saying basically he can almost be 5-star. Hinch is a little bit of a wild card. They've been very careful with him, but the man used to throw 100, touched 100, has 4+ pitches. Now they drafted him straight out of high school, but like they haven't put the innings on him, but he's got all the tools. He's got all the pitches. He's got 4+, they say. So like this deal to me, I get my shortstop that the White Sox really don't have. That's ready to start now, and I can be careful with Hinch, but I mean, put him out there because he's got the stuff, and put him in the Bannister and Cat's deal, and just find out what happened with him.
Hot take: if Mason Wynn gets a full season at shortstop, wherever he wins a Gold Glove at some point, that kid is
great. I mean, he's pretty sick.
Yeah.
He was nice for the Cardinals last year. A little bit, the cup of coffee they gave him.
Yeah.
And it would actually be nice having a shortstop that can throw a baseball across the diamond.
He's got a hose too, right? I think he's got an 80 grade arm.
80.
I think they gave him an 80 grade arm. Somebody had to look, but I think Wynn's got an 80 grade arm.
Up right now.
It's 80.
I think they said he hit 101 on a play in the Futures All-Star game.
102. He hit 102.2 in the All-Star.
I don't know if y'all old enough to remember. He reminded me of a guy named Rafael Furcal with that gun he got.
Yeah. That's a good comparison.
What are you thinking, Nick? You like this one too?
I'm a fan of Wynn. I've seen some Mason Wynn highlights. Yeah, he's a solid defender. Like Justin said, the Rafael Furcal, that's pretty much a good comparison of what he could be. And as long as Tommy Edman is there, he's not really going to be able to really see the field how he, can. So I think the Sox could use him.
Yeah, especially
one name I'd like to throw in there instead of Tink Hence, Joshua Baez. He's like 26 in their farm system.
He
has tools. He's fast. He got pop. He can play defense. He just need to put it together.
Is he an outfielder?
Yeah, he's a center
Yeah,
fielder.
6'4".
You could probably get him just to throw him in. That'll be like that, give me one more player type deal.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask.
But Eric, before you ask Justin, let me ask you. So, are teams that are going for Dylan Cease win now teams?
Yeah, have to be.
For
You only got 2
sure.
years of them.
But that's what I'm saying, because I don't think the Cardinals are a win now team. Are they?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying.
I think they could be.
I mean, you got to remember, this is the first bad year the Cardinals have had in 20 years. They were this bad.
And look at what it took for the Cardinals to have a bad year. Mismanagement of prospects, underperformance by superstars, no rotation, no bullpen. Like, they failed at every level of the organization for the first time in my lifetime, for sure. So I don't think that type of disaster is going to repeat itself. The Cardinals are too good. They got too good of a foundation to let the castle erode 2 years in a row.
And Ray, to be honest with you, I was surprised, but I keep hearing their name pop into the conversation. So that's what got me interested. Like, they ain't accidentally getting there.
I've heard all the other teams. I've heard all the other teams except for the Cardinals. When you put the Cardinals up and you didn't have Brendan Donovan in there, it shocked me. I was like, whoa, okay, yeah.
I was gonna say Mason Wynn might be the odd man out, because you talk about Donovan, Edman. They got a monster over there named Nolan Gorman, who's going to command.
Yeah. Gorman is nice too.
Everybody,
right?
Yeah. So, and they're not going to make the same mistake they made last year with Jordan Walker. They're going to give him the lion's share of some at bats too.
So that's what I'm saying. So somebody's got to be the odd man out. That's how I end up getting to win here.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you guys real quick. You think Mason Wynn be better than Jordan Lawler at the end of it?
Yes. Jordan Lawler can't see a fastball, and he's iffy on defense.
Yeah.
He'd be lucky to stick it short.
So Eric had one more proposal, and we're double tapping a team here, and here we go. We're double tapping now.
I don't know Vaughn Grisham.
No.
Well, let's let Eric explain how he was thinking before you guys just no.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been obviously the Braves have been the number one name out there, right? Vaughn is also a guy now, especially if no position. I saw they got in platooning left field with Kelnick or whatever. Right now is kind of where they got him in their lineup. So, and I didn't know. I really don't want a pitcher back. I'd rather have multiple position players back. But it's kind of hard to get there with the Braves. The Braves organization is probably my favorite if I had to pick one, because they just trade these prospects every year. Like, they just dumped them all for the catcher, right? Then dumped them all again for Olsen. Like, they just dump them. Like, every time the year comes around, they just dump every prospect and go get a major league stud. But, so it was kind of tough to get there with the Braves, to be honest with you. But, this was one that matched the value and got there, and you can get them to throw in, a younger kid, or the Waltrip kid, or the Waldrop kid, the kid they drafted #1 last year. I'm sure you could get a throw in there. But, the numbers match. They're a name that's been pretty hot with the White Sox.
So, Asinine, immediately you said no.
Vaughn Grissom is positionless. He can't stick it short. I mean, I guess he can play second serviceably, but and then his bat is whatever as hell. I want he's another positionless guy to throw on the team. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I don't want that back for our
what's the difference between Vaughn Grisham and Gavin Sheets at this point?
Gavin Sheets can actually put a ball over the wall.
Damn. I'm sorry, Vaughn. I didn't want to put you in that position.
You did. You just threw it right into that.
Here's a layup for Asinine. So Nick, you see AJ Smith shaver, and you got Vaughn Grissom in this deal. Are you thinking this is even something remotely you would see the White Sox doing? Nick,
might have lost him again.
So Nick just got kidnapped.
I don't know.
Damn, that T-Mobile sidekick, bro.
Oh my god.
And Nick is 4'13", so you could just put him in luggage and throw him in a Honda Civic and get away with it.
Well, I like so far the one deal that I did, I kind of got excited about was the Cardinals deal, but I think you could get more from the Orioles because they're
Yeah, and
So,
the other thing too, you got to remember the Orioles are poor, so
yeah.
like they can't afford. So like having seats would be a nice benefit for them under that cheap control for the next 2 years.
yeah, but I mean they have a good farm, but they're basically an arm away,
Yeah,
like literally an arm away.
I can
I
see it
think I
I
don't
mean,
see them
Grayson
finding
came
their
back
rotation.
strong at the end of the year.
personally. Yeah, personally, I want the Cardinals trade if I'm picking. That's the one that I
The
want.
Mason Wynn trade.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I
Same.
want.
But then the Dodgers trade has some intrigue too. If you can pluck Outman, if you can
I think you can get a free catcher. Is basically what I'm thinking there. I said it. But I think you basically can get a free good catching prospect. Which the White Sox don't ever tell me that Lee is a prospect. He's not. He's nothing. You got the kid coming up. We just got from the Angels, but he's probably 2 years away. Or whatever.
Mhm.
Like to
Mhm.
me, if we can get one more, they're basically going to give you one because they have five, and it's on their 40-man roster. As soon as Dalton comes up, they have five. They have too many. And Will Smith is signed to like 25, so he ain't going anywhere. Like you could basically get a free catcher. It's like pick up a catcher while you give me your deal.
We
Right over
need
here.
Paul Loduca from the Dodgers right now. Give me Russell Martin right now. Right now, Dodgers. No, but the Cardinals got an outfielder. Now I know y'all gonna look at me sideways because he's been a little bit mad the last couple of years. Dylan Carlson, do you think we could get him in a throw in? Because I like him as a corner outfield, center fielder behind Luis. I know his number's been mad, but switch hitting outfielder, great glove, decent athlete.
Depends on how Jordan Walker's progressing in terms of defense. Because Jordan Walker already has a gun. If he can get his glove and his footwork together,
But
to
all
be
he needs
enough
is
to
reps,
play
though.
right
All
field,
Walker needs is reps in outfield.
yeah. If he can get all that shit together, and he can able to play right, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm be willing like have him just give me something worthwhile back.
If you the White Sox, would you be like, sure, just give it to me? Is that somebody that you'd be comfortable with getting 430 at bats?
Yeah, I mean he won't be bad. At worst, he'll be like 240, 250, but the
He's
upside.
gonna be better than Trace Thompson, ain't he? Great Britain Trace Thompson.
Yeah, whatever. Nigga from Southern California.
Yeah,
but
so I like what we've talked about so far, but can we think about something outside of like a sleeper? Anybody got any sleepers that they're thinking about like right now? That because Chris Getz is down there, he's rubbing elbows with the Brian Cashmans of the world, with the other owners and GMs and stuff down there. So, who's a sleeper that you guys thinking about?
Now, when you say sleeper, you mean like sleeper trade partner, sleeper
Trade partner,
agent?
sleeper free agent signing, sleeper Rule 5 guy, somebody that could like slip through the cracks and he can pop on the White Sox.
I was looking at some of the free agents earlier. Penn Murphy was a reliever for the Mariners. Now I know the White Sox got a couple of spots in high leverage that they need to cover. I'm looking at him like if he could stay healthy, we could get a bargain off of him, just like a 1 or 2 year deal, something cheap. That way we could at least be serviceable because we lost Liam. Bummer's gone. Like that's already about 30% of the bullpen right there. We gotta find some cheap way to cover it. And I know we got the kids from AA that we could run out and get some innings, but at the same time, we need some maturity there so we can have some stability. We do not want to have a situation to where the season's over in May because the kids are gassed out. Like, look at the Mets. Look at the Mets last year. They had no chance in any game down the stretch because their bullpen was burnt out by May.
It's not only that. That's another team. I've made fun of the Padres for years. You guys know this. Every deal. Like, shit show organization. Now they're broke, borrowing money, can't make payroll.
And they just lost their TV. They just lost their TV deals to pay the players.
Yeah. Like, they're like literally the joke franchise ran forever. The Mets are right behind them. Like, they think that it's just like they can just like it's basically like just grab a player and put them on. Everything's going to work out. It don't work. You have to have an identity. You have to have to match.
Yes.
You got to play the same side of ball. You just can't be like pick a player. Like, so like, yeah, I hate the Padres.
Man, if Juan Soto couldn't fix their problems, can't nobody do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably going to another shit random organization. Could you imagine if the five of us had the Yankees money for the last 15 years? You think we'd let somebody like Tampa kick our ass every single year? Like,
no.
Spending like 130 million more than fucking Tampa. You can't even beat them.
I love the American League.
How does Cashman still have a job? How are you getting outclassed by Tampa? For not 1 year, not 2 years, a decade now. How is Tampa treating you like the Yankees are your stepkid that you don't even
Thrift
like?
store making more than Macy's.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're still bringing in like talented kids every year down in Tampa.
They've lost 7 GMs, and the next one's better than Cashman. They just keep losing front office people because they're so good. The next one's still better than Cashman. He still beats. Like,
They the Pixies from
get it.
Fairly Odd Parents. They just the big factory with suits. Bro.
Yeah, like I mean, Rosarina is he leaving?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Sounds like he's leaving.
It's crazy that the one guy they decided to throw money at decided to touch kids. It's insane.
Right.
One guy.
So they franchise, they made like a little bit of a tweak, right? They're like, all right, I'm going to invest in some players. And then that happens. Like what?
So
you went from Wander Franco for 10 years to Taylor Walls for 10 years. No disrespect to Taylor Walls because I think he's a good baseball player, got a good eye. Good
I'll tell you,
but...
Ray, I'll answer your question a bit about a surprise. And I'll tell you something that I think the White Sox should explore doing. I've been over why they're not a free agent hotspot, right? Who can we possibly trade for and extend? Like, those are kind of the players I've been looking at. Like, who might you be able to get and maybe extend to, like, anchor – the White Sox going forward, give them a little, give them some money, give them some deals. Like, so if you're talking starting pitching, or maybe you're thinking shortstop, like there's either one of the Brewers guys that have both been rumored to be available. Can you get Adames? Can you get Burns? Can you get either one of them and extend them and make them like a future like anchor spot for the Sox going forward? Or who's on that 1 year deal of a team that can't compete but would make a good Sox candidate for the next 5 or 6 years? That's where I think people got to put their focus on, because it's going to be tough to land a key free agent, but you might be able to land somebody and sign up and trade them. Sign them up.
So is somebody like Reese Hopkins?
No.
Is he? No. Okay, so
we got 7 Reese.
Yeah, you don't want him. You don't want that. Who's that other outfielder you told me from Baltimore too? Like, you don't want guys like that.
Santander.
Yeah.
What about Cedric Mullins though?
Yeah, I mean, he would
Eric, you just said something. Trade for Willie Adames. Nick alluded earlier going after a guy like Brandon Drury. They're both one and the same, except Willie Adames just plays Gold Glove shortstop. Offensively, they provide you right-handed slug.
But Adames, like, did he take a step back? Which one is which? Is he 2021 or 2022? What's he?
Yeah, I mean, going into next year, I could pencil in Willie Adames for 25 to 32 home runs. I could mail that in right now.
Yeah, he missed a few earlier in the year, and then kind of got hot in the middle. And then
you want to talk about legit power? Like, that man has legit power at the shortstop.
And they have to make a move or two up there in Milwaukee. Arias,
Vinny Castilla.
Yeah, Arias is who said Arias? Arias. Somebody said him earlier.
Urias, but he's a free agent.
Right. Okay. But Nick, I want you to talk about your guy, Troy Johnston. The Rule of
Oh
Five.
yeah. Troy Johnston. He's 26 years old. He actually was invited to the Marlins camp at the beginning of the year, but they never really got a chance to put him on the field because they had Yuli Gurriel, and then they had Josh Bell. He plays first base, but his natural position is the outfield. So he had 26 home runs. It's if you combine Double A and Triple A this season, because that's what he played during the season. He had 26 home runs, 116 RBIs, with a 948 OPS. And all of his time during the minors, which I think is like 4 seasons, is according to Baseball Reference. He's had a slugging of like 470. So yeah, he's if not your right field option, he certainly can be somebody that you can have off the bench. And Rule 5 guy, he's not Rule 5 protected. The Sox have the 4th overall.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to draft Rule 5, you will want to draft somebody that can contribute to the major league team.
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
Well, they have to. They have to stay on a 26-man roster, so they have to.
Or else they're right back.
Yeah, and it's like...
Otherwise, it'd be like that dumb guy they drafted last year from San Francisco. They just turn on game
right.
Right. And I didn't get it when they got it, and everybody was mad at me. The Jordan dude was mad on Twitter at me. I said, "It's stupid. We're just going to cut him anyway." And he's like, he just stick around with the bullpen. Yeah, he got cut. Like, it's no fit.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to get a guy in Rule 5, get a guy that you know for sure this guy is good enough to where he could be on our roster for 160-something games, like the Tigers did with Akil Baddoo. So
yeah, so I kind of like this quote. I'll read it to you. This was Getz down at the meetings or whatever. Sox Nick, you might like this. He's backed up a little bit on the Cease thing. Now I'm sure he's playing coy, but he's like, there's certainly no urgency to move Dylan Cease. There's no real reason to come here and expect us to move Dylan. But if a team brings us something that matches our threshold, we feel we've gotten a lot better. Then we're going to go ahead and do that. But that was a quote from the winter meetings.
And I think the thing that's really stalling it, and this is my guess. I think it is Heston Kjerstad. That's just my opinion. I think that seems to be the guy that Getz really wanted, and if he's not on the table,
he falls on the line of the guys that he don't want. He can't play defense.
He's talking about Kjerstad? Yeah. I'm just saying, there's still probably a possibility they move him. Maybe it's at the trade deadline they may move him. Probably give him a chance to up his trade value. Because if he ups his trade value and the Sox are still a bad team, it would just increase the return that you can get for him. So, that's
the only reason I think. Yeah, if he's gonna move him, the only thing is he really doesn't have all day. I mean, he acts like he does, but you really don't. Because if you do any of the scenarios we just talked through, are you getting a catcher or do you got to fill a catcher? Are you getting an outfielder or you got to fill an outfielder? They have so many holes. I almost kind of know what I'm getting in return for Dylan Cease, so I can go on with my offseason plan. Otherwise, I got to go on without it. I just can't see. Another tricky thing when we're looking at free agency is who's willing to come here. You almost got to promise them the starting gig. You got to promise them the at-bats, or whatever. You got to promise they can probably play the position they want to play. And that's why I got to Garver and Hernandez, because I'm like, put him back in right field. Tell him he can catch what he wanted to do when he was in Texas. Give me a couple of years and, see what happens. But
I know Ray was just talking about I know Ray was talking about sleeper names. I'm not really sure how Sox fans would feel about this name. I really could see Victor Caratini in a White Sox uniform. If there was that's a typical Sox move. He seems like a guy.
I like it.
Yeah, Victor Caratini. And I think he's kind of that catcher that can kind of give you a mixture of he's not going to hurt you defensively. He'll make some plays defensively, and he can make some hits with the bat.
Switch hitter too. It'll be like the same thing we did. We had a move like that a few years back with Deanna Navarro. Same thing. Switch hitting catcher. Get him in the lineup. Get him some at bats. Didn't he make the All-Star team with us?
Did he?
He was.
I
I
don't think he did.
year. I know that. He's still around.
A sleeper is Dylan Floro. We can kind of do what the Cubs did with
Miami,
David.
the reliever.
Yeah, and do what the Cubs did with David Robertson and flip him at the deadline and get XYZ. Oh, that Robertson actually turned into Pete Crow Armstrong, and he turned into one of their top prospects, although he ain't shit.
Same thing. I said Pitt Murphy too. Same thing.
You want to talk about a team blowing the trade deadline? How bad were the fucking Cubs, dumbasses? Could have got something for ton for Bellinger. Could have got a ton for Stroman. Hope you're going to get in and get swept by somebody. Yeah, on to him, motherfucker. Do they butcher that thing? Jeez.
So speaking of Bellinger, he's probably going to end up in Toronto. Toronto is making some big moves, so they're saying that they're going to walk away with one of the three, two of the three: Bellinger, Soto, or Ohtani. I don't think Ohtani's going, but I can see Soto and Bellinger in Toronto. So that's
I don't want Soto in Toronto. I don't want it. But that's just me being biased. If it was up to me, he'd be on the Red Sox. But
if it was up to we,
but I'm saying there's some big names out there that we're going to probably talk about on the next show. But to close this one out, at the end of the winter meetings, best case scenario, is there a starter on the team coming out of the winter meetings, Justin?
What do you mean a starter?
Is Chris Getz going to make a move to bring a solid player, not a Paul DeJong, not a fucking whatever,
because the first tip of the iceberg was the Aaron Bummer move, right? So obviously he was moving that money, and he got 5 human bodies for Aaron Bummer. Mm-hmm. So look for that type of small money to be moved first to try to fill that up. I haven't looked at the contracts. I don't think he's gonna try to impulsively move like Dylan Cease just to explode and be like, okay, we done it. I look for some of the other things to happen first. We already non-tendered Tim Anderson, so we got the hole at shortstop. We're gonna need an offensive catcher because we can't have Corey Lee starting there. So, I mean, is there an avenue to trade for a catcher? We talked about Diego earlier, but what if we want to up the ante a little bit? Is there another catcher out there that can maybe coax Chris Getz into pushing the Dylan Cease trade? I don't think that's gonna happen.
As long as I don't see Salvador Perez no more come across my fucking timeline.
Salvador Perez is a good catcher. I said all of that to say this. I think Chris Getz gonna stand pat. I think Dylan Cease is gonna be one of the last guys traded, but he will probably move some of the smaller money to try to fill up some of the holes.
Nick, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the Cease trade talks. I think at this point, just from what I'm hearing, it might be 50-50. But like Justin said, maybe they try to move that smaller money, or maybe they just try to fall back on seeing what they can get for Eloy. And if they can move Eloy, then they just chalk that up as their winter meetings and go from there. So,
hey, look, Eloy, bro, you've made me look like a fucking fool, bro. You got to get the fuck on. I'm sick and tired of you, bro. Like I was talking big shit. You was going 525 slug, 880 to 900 OPS. You was supposed to do all this. And you finally played 100 games, but even though you played 100 games, you shit the fucking bed. I'm sick and tired of you. You got to get the fuck on somewhere. If I see you playing, if I see you in that number 74 jersey, bad things are going to happen to you, buddy. I promise. I need you up and out of my city.
So,
Go play in the net somewhere else, bitch. I'm done.
Eloy
Eric,
for Willie Adamas. Straight up. Let's go. Matter of fact,
Yeah,
give me
so it's going to be
South
tough to
too.
move Eloy, obviously, right? He's got to have a negative contract value. I haven't looked, but it's got to be negative. I mean, can't field, can't hit. It's a bad combination when you're owed $14 million or whatever it is. So I guess that'd be a tough move. So here, like, this is what he's against, right? Fans hate the White Sox. Attendance was terrible. There's absolutely zero reason to be excited to go. Tough to get a free agent to come to the squad. Tough to get that. To me, at the winter meetings, what he's got to do is he's got to get a name. He's got to start breaking the wall. He's got to set up the fold. He's got to start setting a mold of what the future White Sox are going to be. And he's got to either overpay somebody to get him there or go ahead and make that move with Cease to get some young talent that you're going to try to match. But you got to get like a name. You got to get somebody. You got to start getting this rock turning because Nicky Lopez and Paul Jong ain't turning nobody's heads. Nobody signed up for season tickets when they made that trade. So, like, You got to figure out a way to start getting some energy back into the team, and that's he's up against it. And that's why moving Dylan Cease is the easiest way to do it because even though they have the money available, I just don't know who's raising their hand and being like, oh, man, I want to come to the south side of Chicago and play for them. Like, I just don't see a lot of people signing up for that just yet. He needs somebody to build around. Jose's gone. TA's gone.
We still got Moncada, Eric.
Wynn's gone. Yeah, Moncada's still here. That's a deterrent. Like, that's the opposite of a good thing. Like, they,
oh, my bad.
that's the opposite of a good thing.
So, like, to me, they got to start setting that tone of what that's going to be, and that would be my goal if I was down at if I was down there, would be what do I vision the White Sox being, and what player can I start building around and start thinking this is the type of player that I want, and I would try to go get him, whether that be free agents or trade.
Right, and now that I just remembered that the Cardinals made a declaration of we are trying to win by going to get Sonny Gray. I forgot about that.
Well, they got Lance Lynn, they got Sonny Gray, they signed some other pitcher too.
Right. So I mean, they may want to solidify their rotation and go for it.
They need to get that bullpen in order because Giovanni Gallegos ain't it.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah.
And
but I mean,
figure out what you're gonna do with Liberatore too, because that back and forth between the bullpen and the rotation, that's just gonna kill the kid.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see what happens. The winter meetings are ending on Wednesday, and we'll do
draft
this
lottery
again
tomorrow night, right?
Yep.
What do you mean the draft lottery?
Draft lottery tomorrow night. Yeah, we need to pluck that thing.
Yep. So I mean, we'll do this again. We'll do this again next Monday, Eric. And I don't know who's going to join us, but we're going to do this again and expand on the things we talked about today, coming out of what happened, if anything, at the winter meetings. So I appreciate, my Bad Guy Radio friends and Nick, you guys for coming on here. Justin, Asinine, representing Bad Guy Radio. Nick, appreciate you for finally
breaking episode tonight at 8:30 when Dylan's traded.
Yeah.
So you said emergency episode
tonight,
8:30. Emergency episode coming.
8:30 tonight when he's traded.
And shout out to Eric for coming home. Shout out to Eric for coming home to his and congratulations once again are in order for this man winning the first year scumbag fantasy baseball league. He came from the bottom to the top, and it was pretty remarkable fucking season by Eric. And
I got to fire my whole analytics department and redo it. That head-to-head stuff's a little different than I'm used to.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to the dynasty league starting this year, scumbag league. So look forward to that. And I appreciate you guys, man. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for supporting us and watching tonight. The guys who did, we saw you coming in and making comments and everything like that. We appreciate you, but it's time to turn the lights off in this bitch.